So would you say that that itself is an issue for you? Do you think that money should continue to dominate, whichever party is given the money, should continue to dominate our elections?
No, that's an issue. I can say it's an issue and it's not an issue. It is not a crime to be poor. It is not a crime not to have money because God gives money. So in an election, if you don't have money to share, and because of that, people did not vote for you, there is nothing you can do about it. But I think the electoral body has a responsibility to monitor. Before, the money used to be distributed at the polling units nearby. That was not always the case in Osun. They have improved on it by sharing the money before the election, on the eve of the election, and early morning of the election. As we witnessed in the other elections, a vehicle will be put near the polling unit to give the money. We didn't see that so much in Osun. It's an improvement of how to give the money. It is not my problem, because you see, very soon, and very, very soon, Nigerians will come to realize that the man who won an election based on your giving your votes freely without inducement may be in a position to do better than the man who bought your votes. Because we have it on evidence that when votes are purchased and somebody is in office, they have the arrogance of saying that, look, after all, I paid for my votes and I have settled them. And that's why in some of those states in Nigeria, you don't see development. You don't see the states moving beyond where they met it. So what I'm saying is that it is not a problem as far as I'm concerned. If you don't have money, nobody should punish you because you don't have money. That is your own gain or your own loss. But someday, Nigerians will come to realize that we don't have to collect money to vote. Rather, collect that money and vote according to your conscience. Because the man that has given you money may not see you again in the next 4 years. That is what the situation is. This position is a position we are making generally. It has nothing to do with our position on the Osun governorship election.
Chief Nwanyanwu, you talked about the security situation at the elections, and yes, you said the election went well. But the last case we had there talked about 50 trucks carrying security operatives driving around Osogbo, and you said you were in Osogbo, intimidating the people, firing into the air and blaring sirens. Don't you think that affected the mood of the voters?
Well, that is if you accept the fact that that is the truth. I'm not in a position to comment on security men, 50 trucks carrying security men, SSS men into Osogbo, because it appears that, you see, there's a saying in my place, the snake seen by only one woman can be seen to be a python. So it appears that only certain people or certain members of political parties saw these people. I have tried to find out. The report I got is different. So I will not comment on it. If the security men came in 50 trucks, mask, and all that, we can, as a political party, you can take it up very seriously with government, with the appropriate agencies. I'm sure you must have taken number of the vehicles. If they don't have, you must have taken some pictures, some clips, and then we take it up. We can take it up in all political parties summit. If security men will just enter a state and start shooting sporadically into the air, that will be very, very funny. I don't know why any security agency properly trained, any member of a security agency properly trained should do that. I don't have those facts. The facts I have is different from the facts you have just asked me. So whoever alleges should push it up. And if we are invited in a summit, we'll be part and parcel of that meeting, that will get to the security agents to ask why such will happen. I don't have that information. I don't have the details. But the report I have about the conduct of the security men in Osogbo State is professional. And I think we have to commend them for that.
All right, Osun State you meant to say, but what do you think will happen when the general elections are here about deploying security, especially when we don't have that figure to deploy as we do in individual states now?
Yes, I said inter alia that we should be thinking of how to achieve the same feat during the general election in February next year. I am of the view that we should have staggered election. If you ask me, I will want the presidential election first, based on INEC timetable, because it is only INEC that has the powers to decide the order and sequence of election. Fortunately, unfortunately, when in 2010-11, National Assembly arrogated itself the powers to fix the order and sequence of election, the Labour Party went to court, saying, no, you don't have that power. Such powers belong to INEC. And we went to court. The court struck down that provision of the Electoral Act. So that section is no longer available. So we cannot be seen to be inconsistent with our positions. We still stand by that position. But since INEC has released the timetable based on the powers given to it by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, I would say, okay, separate the presidential election. Let us have, since you decided to put the presidential election and the National Assembly election, put the presidential election first. Let us do it, if it is by zone, so that we can have enough security men. But if we can have enough security men now, recruit them, train them, so that we can have enough. Although there are states we must have adequate security men, there are states you conduct election, you won't have these problems. There are certain states in the northern Nigeria, you cannot, even if you don't put security men, you are likely going to have the same result. Ditto some other states down the south. But there are certain particular states that you must have adequate security, sufficient enough to throw away thugs and hoodlums from hijacking the process. The experience we have had from these elections is that the thugs have come to realize that they have no more business in an election. If an election result is announced at the polling unit, at the PU, pasted on the wall or at the venue, the thugs have nothing to do. No ballot box will be snatched. You can see now in the past 3 elections, the history of snatching of ballot boxes, and it has become history. It's no longer there because INEC has provided a mechanism, which is count the votes right there. As we saw in Osun and even in Ekiti, the voters even joined in counting, just as we did it in 1993 in option A4, the election that brought Abiola as president, which he never was. It was very transparent. So what I'm saying is we can still replicate that. But the issue of security, INEC and the government must put their heads together and make sure we have enough security in the states. By the time we do this in 2 other elections, Nigerians will come to realize that you must allow the people of Nigeria to vote you into office, and that the issue of thuggery and hooliganism has become something of the past in Nigerian democratic process.
All right, that's all we had to end it. Chief Nwanyanwu, Chairman of Labour Party, thank you for speaking with us today on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you, Chamberlain. You're welcome.